We gonna make it. Boxing King Media, powered by BYD. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Rob McCracken. You can come a bit closer if you want. Yeah. All right.
I don't like to be recognised.
How are you, first of all, Rob?
Yeah, good. Everything's good. Everything's fine.
A great first fight on the top of the bill here. Lauren Price, Tasha Jonas. You know, you've just been saying it in another interview. Lauren is a big favourite. Do you think that's fair on Tasha?
I mean, I didn't know she was a big favourite, but you know, you can understand why. But at the same time, it's, you know, two world champions going up against each other, so I'm pretty sure anything can happen in these sort of level fights. It'll be a great fight, and it'll be fantastic at the Royal Albert Hall.
You know what I like about this fight more than the actual two females going head to head is the fact that it's got two boxing coaches who've been at the top level for such a long time going head to head.
Yeah, Joe used to bring fighters down many years ago, probably 25 years ago, to spar when I was in the gym in London. So very experienced coach, and obviously Natasha Jonas is a very experienced fighter, so it's not going to be easy for either fighter. So, you know, everyone's training hard and preparing for the bout, but brilliant spectacle for female boxing, and obviously two of the best going at it, which is what boxing's all about.
Did you and Joe, have you ever kept tallies over the years? Have you been head to head before?
No, I think I look at it different with no, I'm not saying that Joe looks at it any different to me, but you know, it's relationships with fighters, and you know, bit of belief, bit of confidence, bit of trust and stuff. So you know, I don't, you know, it depends on the relationship of the coach with the fighter. In my opinion, you'll get the best out of them, and you know, you've got some examples. You look at Joe Gallagher and his dad, what they achieved, phenomenal. So relationships is the key in coaching boxers. It's not so much about, you know, the pads and this and that.
Have you and Joe Gallagher been head to head before with fighters before?
I don't know. I'm not sure. Probably. I think. I don't know. I think Joe. I remember Joe had a fighter box. A kid I had for a British title fight, and Joe's fighter won. But that was like 20 years ago or something. I think. Yeah, 20 odd years ago. So yeah, but not really. Not really come across each other much in other corners, to be honest.
Joe's obviously been a Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year, been at numerous world champions. You've been at the highs within AJ, Carl Froch. You know, what kind of, like, how do you still keep that hunger at, you know, because there's so many new trainers coming through. Have you still got that hunger?
Yeah, it's just if you connect with the fighter, and you know, you get a bit of an understanding with them, and you know, you think they've got what it takes to make it, because it's such a difficult sport. It's so very difficult. And obviously it's a journey that they go on with you, so you've got to like each other, you've got to be comfortable in each other's company, and you've got to instill a bit of trust in them, and you know, they've got to do what you want them to do. So it's not a simple relationship, but it's something that you can only really do long term, like, you know, Joe and Natasha, who clearly got a really good relationship and a strong bond. I've worked with Lauren Price for a number of years now. You know, she trusts me, so that's the only way it works. You've got, you know, you can't be training, you know, I don't think you can be training fighters that you don't really know that well, and ultimately, you know, it's not going to work.
Just curious, out of all the fighters you've worked with, who have you got on the best with, like, outside the ring?
A lot of fighters that I work with, I got on really well. But obviously, listen, Carl called me Saturday morning. You know, I speak to Carl every other week, and you know, he pops up now and again. So yeah, and you know, Carl Froch's career was phenomenal as well. So probably most in not so much most in common, just most in touch with and relationship with probably Carl. To be honest, if you're asking me for one fighter, but I'm still in touch with lots of fighters. I had a fighter I worked with like 15 years ago. He came over to GB last week, was playing table tennis with us and stuff. So you know, there's lots of fighters I'm still in touch with, but obviously I'm always in touch with Carl at the moment.
When he got his Hall of Fame award, I think he referred to you as a father figure, which is quite a big statement.
Yeah, I think like I say, it's just building a relationship and having that trust, and then you can, you know, the fighter can achieve lots of things. You're just there to support the fighter. That's what a coach is there, to support the fighter and give him pointers and tell him what he needs to win fights, and obviously the training element, but that's another thing. That's a different entity. But the most important thing is your relationship, that you get the trust from them, and then they'll do what you need them to do, and they'll believe in it as well.
So when I get so rarely I get an opportunity to speak to you. So I want to get your opinion on Tyson Fury's loss to Usyk. How did you score the fight, and what do you make of his retirement?
Do you know what? It's a close fight, and they're great fighters. Usyk, Fury, great fighters. It's up to Tyson. Tyson's achieved so much in his life, and he's been a brilliant heavyweight fighter. So it's what he wants to do with his life. It's up to him whether he wants to come back in a year or in 2 years. It's up to him, or whether he wants to carry on fighting in 3 months' time. But fighters like Tyson Fury, Usyk, they're like elite, fantastic boxers. So it doesn't get any better than that, really. Certainly in these generations, he doesn't get much better than that.
You obviously had 2 close losses to Usyk. How do you explain to somebody that doesn't maybe get the sport, because he got a lot of hammer for the loss as well? How do you explain to somebody, like as a coach, that a loss at elite level doesn't really mean a lot when it's that close?
Yeah, it's right. And fighters who fight the very best, you'll find a loss, or you maybe find one that they got the nod, and it could have gone the other way. People who fight at elite level time and time again, there's always a close fight, or one where they maybe just got it, and maybe it could have gone the other way. But if you fight the best, you're going to lose. And you look at all the greats in the sport, they've all lost. So that just shows you they're competing against the best. But you look at the biggest names in the sport, and they've all lost pretty much. Probably Usyk's unbeaten at the minute, and obviously you look at Joe Gallagher and the relationship he had with his dad, and what a great team they were. So Joe didn't lose, but there's always a close 1 or 2 with everyone's record if you have a deeper look. But just elite fighters like those guys, it's a fine margin between who gets the win at that level, or undisputed level, against like other fighters that are of the same caliber.
You've been up against Usyk yourself, a few times. Can anyone crack the Usyk puzzle? Will anyone beat him in this era, do you think?
He's a fantastic fighter. He's always super fit, and he's very talented, and he's methodical. He works on a plan and he sticks to it and stuff, and he's got the ability to do it and the speed. But anyone in boxing can be beaten. In professional boxing, anyone can be beaten. It's just the right opponent on the right night, and them making the right decisions, and motivation comes into it, and how many big fights you've had, and the drive that's there, and whether the camp's gone well or not, if you've had a few injuries or not. So it's fine margins, and that's through the training camp and obviously on the night. But when you got people of the caliber of Tyson and Usyk fighting each other, there's always going to be close competitive fights, and you can argue about it.
Last question for you: do you want to see Tyson Fury versus Anthony Joshua? Do you want to see it as a fan?
Heavyweight boxing's it's a different world, and obviously there's fights lined up for them. The obvious thing is they box each other. It'd be great for Britain if they box each other, but it's up to the fighters and it's up to the promoters. It's a business at the end of the day. So that fight will happen, or it won't happen. It'll be up to the fighters at the end of the day, and it'll be up to the promoters to put it together and make it work. But I would have thought it will happen.
Do you think any man's a particular favourite in that, or is there like an evenly matched fight if they do fight each other?
I think, look, you have to be honest, and if you look at your recent form, and then you can build who you think the favourite from that. Who's the fresher? Who knows? Training camps are hard, and 2 big guys, they've got to put themselves through 12 weeks of training. Big men, and the injuries that impact on them, and then you've got to move back into another camp, and you might not be able to shake that off. So the reality is there's one thing about being fresh and recovered and that, but there's also getting yourself through a training camp and having the motivation to push 100%. So it's not simple heavyweight boxing.
You've got no particular favourite
in the fight?
Yeah, if they fought.
Well, they've both achieved everything they wanted to and more, haven't they? So but if the fight's not happening at the minute, there's no point having a choice or having a favourite. If the fight's going to happen, I'll tell you I think I'll win.
I'm going to find you somewhere to get that answer. And this is the last question for you. What are you enjoying about boxing as a trainer now, and what you're not enjoying being a trainer?
Yeah, just the fighters that you work with professionally, if you work with fighters in the professional world, you have to get on with them. You have to have a confidence with them, and they have to have a confidence with you. You have to have a trust, and you also have to be, friendly and get on with each other. So, that's what I'm enjoying at the minute. That you're working with people that want to achieve things and push on and challenge themselves, and also, like Galal and Lauren, they're stepping up early in their careers and taking on challenges, and that's what professional boxing is all about. So, with those two, others will follow it, that I'm working with. So, they can step up earlier in their career. There's no point in professional boxing in dragging your career out forever, because Father Time will pass you by.
Anything you're not enjoying?
No.
Good to hear that.
Great.
Yeah.
It's a great sport.
Yeah.
Amateur and professional boxing, it's a great sport.
That's why you're still going, Rob. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Top man. Thank you for that.
We gonna make it.